for today's webinar, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Faiz Hilmi from Universiti Sains Malaysia, to share his experiences on handling an ODL program and its courses, and some execution and management tips on how to facilitate ODL students, especially on workloads, on learning assessments and activities. First and foremost, I would like to introduce our speaker's educational background. Dr. Faiz is a senior lecturer at Pusat Pengajian Pendidikan Jarak Jauh or School of Distance Education in Universiti Sains Malaysia. He received Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration in Management Information Systems from Washington State University in 1997. He received his Master and Doctor of Business Administration in Management from Universiti Utara Malaysia in 2005 and Universiti Sains Malaysia in 2008, respectively. His research interests and expertise include technology and innovation management, innovative behavior, and e-learning and distance education. For your information as well, Dr. Faiz was one of the editorial board member, Malaysian Journal of Distance Education for 6 years, from 2012 until 2018. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Faiz Hilmi to start his sharing. So the screen is yours, Dr. Faiz.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much, Dr. Hafizah, for the kind introduction. And to all participants, thank you for joining me today. Thank you, UNIMAS, for giving me the opportunity to share my experience. So let me share my slide today. I hope you guys can hear me well, Dr. Hafizah.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my experience with the webinar today. My name is Mohd Faiz Hilmi, and I've been with the School of Distance Education, USM, for since 2019. And prior to that, I've been in 5 different electronic manufacturing in Kulim High Tech Park and also Penang Industrial Area. So prior to USM, I've been serving as a IT-related position, and with that, I bring in that experience to teach in this distance education environment. So as mentioned by Dr. Hafizah just now, the key objective today is to share experiences on handling ODL program, and also to share tips as well as best practices in managing based on the experiences that I've learned from my seniors and also from my own 11 plus years in USM. So the agenda today, I will start off with a little bit of history of School of Distance Education, the history and also the evolution, so that everybody will understand how School of Distance Education end up the way it is today. And then we will proceed with the second agenda, which is sharing of personal experience and also key learning in managing ODL courses. And then we go with the demonstration of the system that is being used, and also whatever actual stuff or material. And we will conclude with a discussion, comment, feedback, and so on. As much as I am sharing my experience, I also would like to learn things from you guys. So let's proceed with the first agenda, which is history and evolution, a brief history and evolution of School of Distance Education. And as mentioned by the Madam Chair just now, if you have any question, you can ask directly, or you can also type in the chat box. I will monitor the chat box as well. So a brief history or evolution of a School of Distance Education. It is started in 1971, as you can see, and progressed throughout the years. Initially, it is a 4+1 program, meaning students who enroll in this program back in 1971, they studied through the distance for 4 years, and then they have to join the full-time student for the final 1 year. And the program started with the Bachelor's of Arts, and then Social Science, and then also Bachelor's of Science. During the initial years, notes were provided by lecturers, printed, and then mailed to the student. And then proceed with, starting in 1983 onwards, lecturers write module. Okay, lecturers at that time were sent to Canada and also Australia to learn how to write module and so on. And they came back and they write module and other material. And this material is printed and sent to the student. And at that time, in 1992, the program introduced a new degree, Bachelor's of Engineering, but for a short while, due to regulatory requirement, the Bachelor's of Engineering is no longer continued. At that time, the program had been converted to fully distant mode, but 5 years. So student will learn for 5 years, minimum 5 years, but the student can continue for a maximum of 12 years to finish all the subject. Okay, and there is no more residential requirement since 1992. Okay, and 1996 onward, more program has been added, which is Bachelor's of Management, which is where I am part of right now. And the minimum, maximum, more or less the same, fully distant education mode. And then we'll proceed with 2000 onward, where we introduce the online system. Initially, we use just any website. Lecturers will create their own website. And then the School of Distance Education provided a team who manage Moodle platform, e-learning platform, to host all the learning material. Okay, so that's basically how the school evolve and progress. And we are celebrating our 50th anniversary with all the progress. And currently we have about 5,000 plus students, active student enrolled. So typical academic session for us, our academic session is for 1 year for the full session. It is not by semester. So the student, the classes started in September or October, and then the student will end up finishing with their final exam in July, August. So for the current academic session, yesterday, the student just got their grade. The university released their grade yesterday. So initially we started with registration, planning, distribution of learning material, the student pay their fees, so on. And then there will be a first block of online courses. This will go from October until first part of January. Okay. Usually each subject will have about 4 classes within that period. Then in January, for 3 weeks, student will have to come to main campus USM for an intensive week. This is a normal arrangement prior to COVID. So due to the travel restriction, the intensive week is still happening. Just that the classes is online and the student doesn't have to travel to USM. And during this intensive week, usually we will have a face-to-face classes and also midterm examination, physical sit-on examination. And after students go back, after they complete their intensive week, a student will continue with online learning for 4 more classes online. And after that, in July or August, they will have to sit for the face-to-face examination. And usually this is held in the examination center throughout Malaysia. We have several in Sarawak, we have also several in Sabah, and each state, they have this examination center. And a student doesn't have to travel to USM in Penang. Okay. So again, our academic session is for 1 year, and a student can take up to, for example, management student, a good standing active student can take up to about 33 credit hours. It is quite a high load, but given that a long duration, they have enough time to study and to do the examination, to do the assignment and so on. Okay, typical schedule for any of us in PJJ, School of Distance Education. This is a sample of schedule for the online classes. This is the first classes for the just ended academic session. We have about 80 sessions for that 1 week, all happening on Saturday, because all of our student is working adult. So on that Saturday, starting from 8 up to 7 p.m., we have 8 rooms in the main campus. We call it WebEx Studio, and where the technician will set up all the WebEx account and so on. And all the students will be given access or link depending on their classes and subject. And lecturers can come at their time, the predefined slot, and teach for 1 hour. Technician will do all the recording. And the agreement is maximum 1 week after that class, the recording will be uploaded to the e-learning portal by the technician. And for example, this is my slot. For that time, I'm teaching 2 classes on that Saturday. So apart from going to the office and do the face-to-face classes in this WebEx studio, lecturers are also allowed to manage their own deliverable teaching. So as long as the lecturer follow the time and the date as defined by the office, we are allowed to do the recording, to do the teaching by ourselves, because each of us are given the WebEx ID anyway. So for those who choose to do so, we create our own link, we create our own everything. We do the classes, and we are responsible to upload the recording on our own, as long as we follow the timetable. But this is how the timetable look like, and for every week, every Saturday, we have about 80 classes going on, and we have about 8 classes concurrently. Since a School of Distance Education, we offer 4 distinct programs: Sciences, Humanities, Management. So we can offer the classes concurrently because it's serving different students. So for online distance learning, 3 main characteristics that need to be addressed. Number one is technology, and then we have a student, and of course we have a lecturer ourselves. So technology plays an important role, and that's will enhance the engagement, the student experience, and so on. But how we use the technology we must have student in mind. If we can deliver a very good lecture and so on, but the student won't be able to access the lecture because of their working schedule and so on, then it is meaningless. So we will have to think about the student in whatever that we plan and we do. So for that, how I am delivering or using the technology, this is the normal setup that I am using. Similarly, what I am using now in this webinar, it is good to have a good camera with a high resolution so that the student can see, especially for the past 2 sessions, we does not have the opportunity to meet face to face, so they don't even meet me. This is the only time that they can see my face. And with the camera, a good camera, they can get to know their lecturer, or they can have a good discussion, online discussion. And then it is good to invest in whatever that you can see here. The reason for the camera in the middle is because to create a sense of me looking to the audience when talking, and because it is in the middle of the screen, and it create a good, a better mood and environment. Apart from that, I highly suggest the following annotation tools. What you can see here, most of us already have an iPad, and it is good to invest with a software called Easy Canvas. I've been looking for a variety of software, and Easy Canvas suit the purpose. It mirrors the screen, and I can write anything. I can annotate as I'm teaching. So it is easier, especially when there's Q&A with the student, they ask question. I can use this annotation tool to explain to student, and that helps a lot. And of course, they especially if you are teaching mathematics or any subject like finance, that you have to draw the equation, you have to write the equation and so on. Explaining without any kind of annotation tool is difficult. So this is the normal setup, technology setup that I am using. And also a good thing is that to have your speaker at the back, and now the microphone is attached to the camera. It is facing forward as well as the speaker. So whatever sound coming out from the speaker will not create an echo. So that is important too, unless you have to mute yourself on and off. It is quite troublesome if you are the main speaker. Now, just now I mentioned like a normal setup for us in School of Distance Education, the technician will handle the recording and will do the uploading process to the e-learning portal. Okay, I can show you the e-learning portal. I will show you the e-learning portal later during the demonstration. However, since I opt to manage the process myself, I can always take the recording from WebEx and upload it directly, but I choose to do a little bit of editing, and I will explain to you why. So for that, I am using Camtasia. It is easy to use software. We do have also a free software, but I think Camtasia with a one-time license payment serve my purpose. I can do a lot more with that. I can add an intro and exit portion of the slide so that it looks professional, and I can also cut all the silent to minimize the size and also the length of the recording. So this is something that I would suggest, especially if you have this camera and mic with this monopod. It is better so that you don't have to wear the headset for 1 hour. It's quite tedious to wear that headset for 1 hour if you were to teach for long hours. So now that's for technology, and for a student, specifically for me and for the rest of my colleague in the School of Distance Education, since all of our students are adult students, okay, we do have those who just finish off their diploma or also finish off their STPM, but a majority of them are adult students working. So I have to include this principle in mind, andragogy. I have to make sure that whatever that I teach or discuss related to the subject is relevant to them to improve their engagement towards the class. So I will explain that later how I do that. And problem-centered is another thing, especially in evaluation. In the exam question, I will try to include everyday issues so that they can see the issues from their own perspective. For planning, it is easier, whatever planning, scheduling for submission of assignment and so on. On the first day of class, I will discuss with them, get their approval or get their suggestion and so on. Even when to do what kind of question that they would like to have is something that I can open for suggestion from the student. And experience is also another thing that I will have to, or we will have to think of when we plan activities for the student. And for us as a lecturer, of course, we are the subject matter expert. We must make sure that we understand the subject matter. We must do the planning in advance, do the planning well, take into consideration of what kind of student do we have. For us in School of Distance Education, for the past 2 academic sessions, it has been most of our students, they are frontliners. Majority is in the armed forces or a police force. Either way, and then we do have those in hospital and so on. So for them, we have to plan properly, especially all the evaluation activities. And then we have engagement and also evaluation, something that we have to to decide and plan as a lecturer. So with that, let me proceed with the second agenda, which is sharing personal experience and also key learning managing ODL courses. Okay. Again, I've been with School of Distance Education since 2009, and many of the practices that I'm employed today, I learned from my seniors. Most of them are already retired, and then also from my own trial and error. So basically, this is the e-learning portal that we use. The good thing about teaching at School of Distance Education that the school provide the portal even way back when it is not compulsory and so on for the university. For us at School of Distance Education, it is compulsory. All of us have been using the e-learning portal. It is open source, Moodle based. So, for example, for the just ended academic session, this is my how I log in, and I have access to the following subject. Project pengurusan is the final year project, and then seminar pengurusan is also like co-teaching. And then most of us, we teach 3 subjects, and that 3 subjects that I'm teaching is the top 3, strategic marketing, penyelidikan pemasaran, and also I am replacing my colleague who went for a sabbatical leave. That is economy for pengurusan 1. So teaching 3 subjects, if you are doing it for the first time for distant education student, it might be an overwhelmed situation, especially they can demand so many things, they can ask you many things and so on. So basically, this is how the e-learning portal looks like, and everything is centered within this portal, and we'll go through the demo later. So this is the main interface of one of the subject, and we do this, we prepare this prior to the first day of classes. So most of the item is fixed, so you don't have to change every academic session, and then we have all the notes that we want to give to student. And from day 1, the way I do it, because I choose to manage the classes on my own, I will have to provide all the links to the WebEx session. And I do that right from the beginning. I do have the schedule, and I will provide all the link on the first day of classes. Right after I have the schedule, I will create all the links, and I will put it in the e-learning portal for that particular subject. So that will help the student, so the student can access the link to classes from here. However, prior to each classes, I do send the link to the student to the group WhatsApp or also Telegram. The reason to do that is if I don't do that, the number of students attending the class is very low, because it is troublesome for the student to log into a computer and then to click on the link. So when I started to share the link, like a few minutes or prior to class on that day, the number of students attending the class increased, and it is a good feedback that I got, because they can just connect to the classes, from their mobile devices from anywhere they happen to be at that time. So with that, the link also I will provide all the necessary information. Like for me, the recording I will upload not into this portal, but I choose to upload in a YouTube playlist. I create a playlist on YouTube and I upload all the recording. There's a reason for me to do that. If we choose to let the technician handle everything, they will upload the recording, the MP4 file, somewhere in this page. So the student will have to log into their e-learning portal, download each file, and then view it on their PC. It is troublesome. So I choose to manage on my own, and I will usually upload all the recordings after I do the editing to a YouTube playlist. So and then all students, they just need to remember one link, which is the playlist link. Okay, just now, as I mentioned, the class reminder. So for all my classes, I have access. I give student access directly to my mobile, basically. For example, for these classes, even though there are 274 members in this, the total student for this class is actually 350, but only 274 join the Telegram group. Okay, before classes, I will send them a reminder. It's not a must, but it's like whoever free, please join, and so on. And the number of students joining the classes is good, increase. Okay, and it is easier. They can join directly from their smartphone. So this is something that I strongly suggest. Don't worry about having a student access to your phone number because based on my experience, as long as we are ahead of them in terms of assigning them what to do and so on, they're not going to contact us, to bombard us with all the questions and so on. So always give them things to do, and they will continue without any issues. Another good reason to have a group, whether in WhatsApp or in Telegram, is that the student can discuss and they can ask questions, and they can help each other within that group. Most of the questions asked by the student being answered by their friends. So I don't have to monitor or to answer all the question. And furthermore, it is as a method to increase engagement. So if you were to teach an ODL program, I think other than having the chat and also the forum in the portal, which I do create such facilities, students look forward for a better communication engagement, such as WhatsApp group and also Telegram, depending on the numbers of students. But going forward, I will choose to use Telegram, and I will no longer use WhatsApp because Telegram, the one features better than WhatsApp is that if a student recently joined, he or she can scroll back to all the historical discussion, and that he or she cannot do that in a WhatsApp group. So going forward, I will use Telegram for all my classes. Okay, this is the how I usually start my classes for that live classes. Okay, this is the live classes. I usually start the WebEx session a few minutes earlier, and the student will see this particular slide, and then I will start further with the title slide. And this is the example of the first class. During the first class, I explained all the important dates. Most of them, even though the same information is provided in the main page of the e-learning portal, they don't go and look. So this is a way of giving them the information. Just to introduce them myself, here in School of Distance Education, we call ourselves as pengurus kursus because we facilitate the learning process. Student will do a lot of self-learning, and I think you will have another webinar to discuss the self-instructional material later. So again, I will share with them all the WebEx link and all the dates. Okay, for this particular penilaian, we will explain to them also. Usually penilaian is fixed, but we just explain to them. And we, referring to the earlier slide about andragogy, what I will discuss with them is the date, for example. So, and also the topic and so on. So basically, for example, the date, we discuss with them, we decide on the date. However, one of something that I learned from the seniors, whatever date that you have in mind, and then you bring forward for about 2 weeks, for example, and that's the date that you explain to the student on your first day as the due date. So as we approach 30th of April, I will discuss with the student. I will ask them how's the assignment going on and so on. And then most of the time, I will give them an extension of 1 week. Okay, extension for 1 week. And then I will extend for 1 more week. So in total, I will extend for 2 weeks. Okay, this is the tips that I would like to share with you. Whatever the due date that you initially give to them, make sure that you are, it's like you will extend it, but you don't have to tell them yet. You will do that as the date, as we reach the date. And the student is like we are managing their perception or they will be happy with the extension that we give, and it doesn't really, most of them, they don't really capitalize on the extension that we give to them. Just that for adult student, to make them be more engaged and be part of the learning process. These are the small things that we can do to them to make sure that they try their hard to fulfill all the requirements. And then the first day of classes, explain what the midterm exam will, how does the midterm exam look like and so on, and also the final exam. Okay, that's the extraction of the first day of classes online. So teaching for me basically involve lecture, live, online, and recorded. And then part of my job as a lecturer, I will manage the recording, do the editing, I will cut out whatever that is not required and so on. So editing and sharing usually take place the same day. For example, if I have classes at 1 p.m., Webex will create the recorded file about 1 or 2 hours after the end of the session. So I will download and I will record. Usually I will upload into the playlist and it will be ready by midnight the same day. So they can spend their Sunday to review the recording if needed. So again, I am doing this on my own. We can opt for a technician to do this, or you can do it on your own. The reason I am doing it on my own because I would like to, of course, it is faster. If the School of Distance Education, the technician team do it, usually they will take about 1 week. And they will upload the recording to the e-learning portal, which is troublesome for the student to view, one. And number two, I won't be able to see how many times they view the recording, who view the recording, and so on. So that kind of analytics is very important. Okay, so I choose to do it on my own. So the next step is for continuous communication and feedback. And for this, there are several means, but I choose basically through WhatsApp group or Telegram group. So the reason for that, we discuss further. And analytics. Analytics is important nowadays because we do have the data, the capabilities to get the data. How many people view, the attendance, and so on. Okay, so we will discuss each of these in detail. So live lecture, just like the current webinar that we are in right now. So I will teach. It is recorded, and then I will do the processing. Okay, this is quite straightforward. You just prepare the slide. You can use an annotation tool and so on. You deliver for about 45 minutes and question and answers. Okay, this is similar to classroom setting, just like now it is online. So all the material and so on, I don't see much different from face-to-face classroom setting. Next, the second aspect just now, right after the live session, about 2 hours, I will download the recording from Webex, okay, from my Webex account, and then I will start to do the recording. I will add the intro slide, the intro recording, just like 5 seconds. And also at the end, I will put also the exit. So this is something that you can create and then you can use in all your recording. It's like, it is a good branding, and also it will make your slide, especially when you put everything in one playlist, it looks nice. Okay. So number 2 is I will edit. What I do when I say I edit is I go and delete all this silent. Okay. I can see all this silent where sometimes I am moving something on the screen, but there's no talking and so on. We can delete that. Okay, we can delete all this portion. Okay, and then we can do so many things because we can add a pointer because all the function here. Okay, it is easy to learn, and also I can do the manipulation with the voice. Okay, I can remove noise and I can increase or decrease the volume so that when the student listen to the recording, they can listen in a very good audio captures. Okay, so for this I am using Camtasia. You don't have to use Camtasia. You can use there's open source software available out there. You can use it, whichever that suit you. Okay. Because for me, I think to purchase this for one time, I can use it for the rest of my teaching career. I think it is a good investment, and so far I am satisfied, and it serves the purpose well. Okay, recording. Why am I using YouTube playlists? Okay, these are the sample. I created a channel, and then for that channel, I have all these playlists. Okay, for now, everything is unlisted. It doesn't really matter. And then I give them the link to the playlist. So it is easier. They can save the playlist in their YouTube profile. And they know for the day that we have classes online, right after midnight or before midnight, I will update the playlist with the latest video, the latest recording. So that's the reason of why I'm choosing YouTube, because the alternative is the technician will upload the recording to the e-learning portal. So I can imagine myself as a student, whenever I want to watch the video, I will have to log into the e-learning portal. I have to download the video, and then I will have to save it somewhere, whether in my notebook, my computer, and then I will have to watch it. Then I will need a computer to watch it. So since the technology is available, I do something extra, and so far the student, they like it very much. And in addition to that, I can see how many people has watched video number 1, how many people have watched video number 2, and so on. It is very interesting because there are videos that nobody watch. I wonder why. So I should ask question from that particular topic. So in order to do this, something that if you were to do this, something that you have to plan beforehand is the naming convention. So because to make yourself easier, you have to decide how do you want to name your file. Okay, I started off with a sequence 01, 02, 03 until whatever, and then sessi webex for, and then the code for the subject, and then I will add the date of the classes, the live classes. So these are the three three classes that I have. So the good thing about this, once you have it for one semester, the next semester or the next academic session, that you can use the same thing, you can give it to the student from day one. From day one, you can give the YouTube playlist to the student, and you can ask them to go and watch all the 8 videos and be prepared for anything. At the same time, you can keep on improving your videos. Okay, so you are turning your classes into a blended mode. Okay, of course, the videos we should do, or we should record nicely. That's the reason why I do the editing, to make it look good, to delete whatever unnecessary silent and so on, that I can use it in the future, and I can give it to student from the first day of classes. So that is also very important. It's like you are doing it once, and you can use it many, many times. Okay. So that's the reason. And of course, the analytics part. Okay, next is the continuous communication. Okay. Of course, Moodle provide messages, forum, and chat. I do provide all this in the portal for that particular subject. Okay, however, you can imagine being a student, you want to ask something, you want to discuss, you have to log into the e-learning portal, and then you have to type, and then you have to wait for your friend. They don't log in all the time on the forum or chat. So I bring all this into their smartphone. So either WhatsApp or Telegram, okay, they can choose, and so far it benefits them. It benefits them, it benefits me, because I don't have to monitor the forum and chat. I just monitor WhatsApp and Telegram because that's what most of us have been doing anyway, without the classes. So number one, and everybody is on WhatsApp and Telegram. Of course, this is in addition to the normal or ordinary means of communication, email and telephone. If we don't have the pandemic, this will be the main function as well. But now the telephone, since I am giving the access to my phone, they don't have to call the office number anyway. If you were worried that a student will disturb you at all time, I think based on my experience, that does not happen. So far the student, they know when to ask and so on, and most of the question that they ask is being answered by their friends. Okay. In a group, usually they are good, very good student who knows all the detail, and these are the student who answers, who help you a lot with all the issues, all the question asked by your student. So I would suggest create a group for your classes, and it will help with the teaching. And also the important thing is student engagement, of course. How to improve, how to make sure that the student engage with the courses, with the program, if they are at a distance, okay? So these are the example I have. Initially, I started off with WhatsApp, and then when I have this subject with more than 250 students, I will have to use Telegram. But when I've started to use Telegram, I think it is better because the student who recently joined, they can scroll, they can look back at all the history, all the discussion, and that is a good features. So going forward, I will use Telegram. So from day one, I created the link to join the group, and I put it in the e-learning portal. So I also mentioned to the student from the first day of class to join the WhatsApp group or Telegram group, because that's where I will answer question. I will do all the Q&A and so on. And so far, they've been good. Here I can have one group for my final year supervisee, and this is an active group because final year student doing the final year project, they ask a lot of questions. Okay. The rest is not so active. Okay, this is example of me giving reminder of the class today so that they can join. This is example of after I uploaded a new recordings to the YouTube playlist, I will let them know so that they can go and view the recording. So it is a must to have this communication and feedback channel. What kind of channel that you use will depend on your situation, of course. I've tried to use only the Moodle chat and forum. It doesn't work. Student does not log in and type the question, because I know it is a troublesome. You have to have a PC or a notebook to do that and so on. It is possible to log in to the Moodle platform from the smartphone, but the because of the size of the screen and so on, it is not that meaningful, not that easy. Okay, so for me, I am using this method, WhatsApp or Telegram, and it served me well. And you might want to try, especially if you have a small group. Okay, my classes is actually quite small, 46, 32, and so on, 20 something. Only this one classes, I have about 350 students. Okay, so far so good. I will continue doing the similar method in the future. Okay, the fourth activity as a lecturer just now, analytics. Another reason for me to use YouTube is this analytics. If I were to upload the recording in the e-learning portal, the student download, I can, of course, I know who download and so on, but this is much richer analytics. Okay, how many views? Of course, we can see drill down further. I know certain recording got a very high view, and for this session 3, not sure why not so many or not so high view. Okay, we can see I can see that there are recordings where nobody watch. So is there a problem? Is there a reason? I can ask, I can probe them for a discussion further. So this is very important, analytics, as well as you can use it again and again. Okay, you do it nicely for the first time, you edit it nicely and so on, and make sure the voice, everything is good, and you can use it again and again. So that is one of the benefits of doing it by yourself, and you can turn your courses into a blended mode in the next session. So Moodle also provide analytics, and of course it is much richer in the sense like every activities is recorded. Okay, every activities is recorded, so you can know for who did the quiz, when, and so on, and who are doing the attendance. So there are variety of log. Okay, you can choose what activities you can choose on a specific person and so on. So all these activities, there are students sometimes when I check, they never log in at all. Or I can see the last time they log in was like 200 days ago. Okay? And these are the things that I can probe further. I can try to call them, see what happened, and so on. So these are the things that you must take into consideration in planning and so on. So the activities, if it is not, if nobody watch and nobody, let's say I created a forum or a chat in Moodle, and I can see easily from this analytic that how many people participated and so on. When there's low participation, then we can remove that function altogether. Don't bother with that. Okay, next we go to evaluation. Of course, evaluation is something that is fixed because of the how each courses is being designed and so on. So most of my courses, there'll be assignment and then midterm exam and also final exam. So these are the three things that students are interested in whenever they are joining, or whatever question that they ask focuses on these three things. And based on my experience and also my colleagues, similarly, the last classes, the number of participants is very high because they are expecting tips for the final exam. Okay, so the first classes is like nobody attend, and then right up to classes before the midterm, okay, we have increased a bit, and then of course the last class is like the best class ever, and student will ask you so many things. That's just their behavior. Every academic session, similar behavior is detected. Okay. Assignment, most of them will forget. We have to keep on reminding, and don't forget to extend the due date to make them happy, and also they will give you a good review at the end of the course. Evaluation, three types of evaluation for the past two academic session. Because of the pandemic situation, all three are online. So I have a final exam, I have assignment, and also midterm exam. So all three I'm opting for online submission and also online exam or quizzes. Okay, so again, because of the technology available, I would suggest automation as much as possible. Why automation? Because of submission tracking. For example, for assignment, it is also possible for the student to courier a hard copy, a print out to the School of Distance Education. And then the clerk at School of Distance Education will compile and combine everything and pass over to the lecturer. It is possible, but it involves a lot of things that the submission might gone somewhere, missing submission and so on. So for me, because I am used to mark PDF, soft copy, I'm comfortable with reading soft copy. I ask my student to submit PDF copy online for their assignment. It is also easier to track their submission. There won't be any missing. It is time-stamped exactly when they submit. There won't be any discrepancy. Okay. As for exam, both midterm and final exam, of course, when using Moodle, we can opt for the student to type in the answer. directly into Moodle, or we can give the question, the student write the answer on paper, and then they take picture or they scan the picture and they upload the picture as PDF or so on. So we do have some lecturers who choose the first method. Okay, the student type the answer, and we do also have lecturers who request their student to write the answer on paper and then take pictures and then upload the answer. Okay, there might be some reason for that. For example, sciences subject, okay, mathematics and so on, where the student will have to write equation or have to draw diagram and so on. It is easier, or it is not yet possible to type directly. So for that subject, the lecturer will ask the student to do to write the answer on paper, to take pictures and then upload. And we do have to consider the time that the student need to take pictures, upload and so on. Therefore, the duration, the duration for the midterm exam and final exam in such approach is extended. Okay. For me, I ask my student to type the answer directly in Moodle. There is a pros and cons for that. That is how the submission will look like and how are you going to do the marking. Okay, that is also another consideration that lecturers have to make. Okay, this is how the assignment look like if they use the submission, and if you use a Moodle, mostly I can know when they submit and so on. And the file, this is for assignment, they will submit a PDF file. So many types of file that they can submit. They can submit recordings and so on. Okay, we do have a presentation for some subject, and the student either do the recording and upload here, or they can do the recording, upload into any web hosting such as YouTube and so on, and they give the link. So that is also possible. For midterm and final, this is how it looks like. If, for example, I choose the first method where the student type directly in Moodle. So this is question number 1. Okay, the total are 3 questions. These are the exam question. And the good thing is I can create a simple template for the answer. This is how I want the answer look like. So they just continue their answer here. Cool. As I mentioned just now, the drawback of this method is how the submission look like and how are you going to do the marking, and that might not be suitable for everybody. I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, this is the submission that I got from Moodle. It is quite difficult for those who are not accustomed to marking the digital file. Okay, each row is a student, and then each column is a question, question 1, question 2A, 2B, and so on. So how am I going to mark this? Either I can print, and to print is also not that easy because you have to do the resizing, reformat, and so on. So this is one student, and this is for each question, and you can see it is quite difficult. So this is what you get if you choose to ask the student to type directly in Moodle. So for those who ask the student to write on paper and upload the paper in PDF, it is easier. So you just print the PDF. Okay. For this type, the management is simpler because you have each student on one row. Everything is nicely formatted. So how I do the marking, I open up in Excel, and in Excel, in that column, in that where we can type all the formula on top, I enlarge that part. So when I click on each on each cell, then I can see that. So whenever I read, so whatever point that I'm getting, calculate for this question how many point, and then I can type it in. This is another Excel where each row is a student, and I just type in the marks for each student. It is quite troublesome for if you are new to this, but after a while you will get used to it, and I find it straightforward and easier. So everything is in a digital format. So you just need to get used to all these digital, and for that's why I am using I think a 20+ inch screen to make it easier. I can maximize and I can read easier. So that is another thing that to consider. So if you are not used to this, then do not choose for your student to type the answer directly in Moodle. So, however, this is only applicable for the past 2 academic session because of the pandemic situation. Under normal situation, the student will sit for midterm and also final exam face to face. They will write the answer on an answer sheet, and as mentioned, they have all the examination center all over Malaysia, and they will courier back the officer in charge will courier back all the examination sheet to USM for us to answer. But this is for the past 2 sessions, this is how we're doing it. Okay, for the third agenda, the demonstration, let me switch my... Okay, this is the e-learning portal where I have my courses. Okay, I have all my courses here. I have project pengurusan, where each of us supervise about 30 students for final year project. We have another subject that we co-teach, seminar pengurusan, where student will do a project, will do a presentation, a recording, and we do the evaluation together. So 3 courses that I teach. So each of the courses, as you can see, this is how student will have access to all the information. I can put in all the information, perancangan akademik, nota e-kuliah, and so on. Something that we must provide to the student is from day one, I would suggest that we put all the calendar, and we can put all the details that if we want the student to read anything before the classes, okay, that is good, so that the student come to classes prepared. And again, if we already have the recording that we provide to the student, maybe from the last session or the last semester, we can ask the student to listen to the recording, and they can come and prepare to discuss or to answer question and so on. and that will create a good learning environment with discussion and so on. I can also, or this is a must actually for us in School of Distance Education. I must create attendance list. So every time during the live session, the student, at least some of them, I hope, must sign up and click to this link, and they sign up as attending. So to prove that we need this list later to be part of the subject file that we have to create. And this is the link to the playlist YouTube. Okay, I will show you the playlist YouTube shortly. Okay, these are the link to the final exam. Okay, let's see how. And then this is the link to assignment. They have to submit the assignment here. And this is the link to midterm exam. Okay. And of course, Moodle provide many activities, many function. I can create a checklist that what they need to do. Okay. From day one, they need to join this WhatsApp group. Okay. I also provide them with a forum and also chat room, which, as I mentioned earlier, not much people, not much student write or participate in the forum. It is troublesome to, they need a PC and so on. So the best is to provide them with a group WhatsApp or group Telegram with they can get to know their student better and also can ask and discuss. Okay, I think if you were to use Moodle, there's a lot of function and so on that you can explore. Okay, for YouTube, these are the channel that I've created that I'm using it for my teaching. Call it pembelajaran sepanjang hayat. The plan is to add more content relevant to teaching and research and so on. So for now, I have all these classes, playlists. The good thing is we can see this analytics. Okay, analytics, and we can see the view, we can see engagement and so on. But since it is might not be that meaningful because most of the people watching are targeted. Okay, these are the people, student enroll in a particular class. But if I were to create a general video, then it will be interesting. So as you can see, the number of view, okay, some are very high, some are very low, and let's see if there is a zero. And you can see the number of views, the timing, if you can see, it is possible to see also, like right before the final exam. So you know when do students learn, okay? You can also see time of the day, whether is it during the daytime, during the night time, during weekend, weekday. When do your students study or watch your video? Okay, so these are the playlists. Again, students like it very much as compared to the ordinary. They just remember their playlist. Another reason they like it very much is because if they were to watch a particular video and suddenly they have to stop somewhere in between, in the middle, the next time they come back to that video, the YouTube apps in their mobile phone will remember at what point they stop. So that is a very good function, number one. Number two, of course, they can view this anywhere from their YouTube or from their smartphone devices. So this is a very good tool that I would like to suggest. Of course, you can make it unlisted. Okay, you don't have to make it public. You can just share it to your student, and at the end of the courses, you can make it private if you want to. So again, this is how the courses look like, and you can see the answer for all the exam. Okay, for the result. Okay, how many people answer so on. And just now when I mentioned the grading, yeah, let's go to okay, and this is the schedule. We have 8 concurrent classes on that particular Saturday, a total of 80 classes. Okay. So that's like a demonstration. I think we reached the 4th agenda, where I look forward for comment, feedback, question, maybe something that you guys are doing it differently, something that I can use. So if I would welcome any comments and also feedback. So far, I can see there is no question on the chat yet. Maybe Dr. Hafizah.
Right. I would like to open the floor for question. If you have questions, for your information, Dr. Faiz, the open distance learning for that we actually planning is for CMBA, one of it, and also Human Resource Development, HRD. So maybe it's a good chance for the lecturers or for the participants from CMBA program. Maybe you have some questions to ask to Dr. Faiz.
Dr. Faiz, Assalamualaikum. Saya Azhar. Saya just nak tanya, saya dimaklumkan sebelum inilah yang mana kalau kita dah involve dalam ODL ni, mengajar ODL, kita seeloknya kita kita be aware atau be alert dengan apa message pelajar, betul ke? Regardless of time.
Okey, maksudnya kena respon kepada pelajar immediately regardless of time, macam tu kan?
Ya. Itu yang saya dimaklumkan. Adakah betul macam tu?
Saya rasa tidak juga. Cuma apa yang macam saya komit kepada student saya, yang saya maklumkan kepada mereka ialah apa-apa pertanyaan saya akan reply balik tidak lewat daripada 24 jam misalnya, ataupun 48 jam. Jadi kalau by 48 jam saya tak reply, mungkin saya kata kat diorang, please help to remind me, macam tu. Saya rasa saya tak jumpa lah mana-mana arahan setakat ni kalau di School of Distance Education yang kata kena reply immediately. Cuma kalau kalau pertanyaan tu contohnya masa waktu bekerja, jadi cuma itu sepatutnya lebih immediate lah daripada kalau yang di luar waktu bekerja tu kita boleh saja reply balik. So walau bagaimanapun yang saya janji dengan student, komitmen saya ialah itulah, kalau saya tak reply within a certain time, you remind me again. Jadi setakat ni tak ada masalah. Kecuali satu group of student ni untuk final year project. Jadi untuk final year project, semua yang di bawah penyelidikan saya tu, diorang ni selalunya menulis projek tahun akhir tu malam-malam. Jadi contohnya kalau dia tengah buat analisis SPSS, dia start dan sebagainya tengah malam tu, selalunya dia akan tanya dan saya akan jawab directly lah masa tu juga. Sebab kalau saya tak jawab, dia tersangkut tu, dia tak boleh continue. Jadi yang itu untuk satu grup tu sajalah, grup-grup lain tak ada masalah macam tu. Cuma yang overallnya saya rasa tak perlu immediate.
Okey, terima kasih. Dan satu lagi soalan, Doktor, berkaitan dengan masalah teknikal lah. Sebab kalau pelajar-pelajar ni kebiasaannya mereka akan mula untuk membuat aktiviti pengajaran pembelajaran ni pada waktu malam, seperti macam contoh maybe tengah malam pukul 1, pukul 2, and then dia akses kepada e-learning platform, and then tiba-tiba ada technical problem. Dan sometimes kalau kalau di USM, adakah staff teknikal akan sedia membantu pada awal pagi macam tu? Sebab kadang-kadang ianya berbalik kepada motivasi pelajar juga kan. Kalau mereka kadang-kadang dos yang pelajar dewasa ni, mereka bila dah ada motivasi nak belajar tu, and then mereka kebiasaannya pukul 10 malam dan ke atas, dan tiba-tiba ada masalah tentang e-learning platform. Adakah respon daripada staff teknikal immediately? Kalau contoh dekat USM lah.
Terima kasih. Respon daripada staff teknikal di USM pada waktu bekerja boleh dikatakan immediately, tapi di luar waktu bekerja memang boleh kata tak ada support lah. Support yang terbaik ialah hari Sabtu masa kelas diadakan tu, yes, dia full support. Selain daripada waktu tersebut, memang saya katakan tidak ada support. Cuma server Moodle USM itu sendiri setakat ini tidak pernah menghadapi masalah di luar waktu bekerja. Masalah-masalah capaian ini hanya apabila berdekatan dengan waktu exam, di mana kita punya aktif pelajar 5,000 orang. Masa itulah dia orang cuba nak akses, jadi dia macam capaian itu mungkin boleh menerima sekitar 1,000 aktif connection at one time. Jadi orang yang ke 1,001 tu dia akan dapat delay dan sebagainya. Jadi itu masalah itu ada. Cuma masalah itu dia seasonal sebelum exam, di mana semuanya masa itulah baru cuba nak download dan sebagainya. Setakat ni belum ada penyelesaian sebab benda tu seasonal. Kalau nak increase capacity server dan sebagainya, hanya untuk cater that julat yang sekejap tu tidak berbaloi. Jadi apa yang pensyarah-pensyarah sendiri take inisiatif ialah macam kita, contohnya kalau recording tadi tu macam itulah salah satu sebab kita keluarkan dia, masukkan dalam YouTube playlist misalnya. Jadi capaiannya lebih stabil, lebih mudah pelajar nak akses. Itu juga perlu diberi perhatian apabila kita nak membuat exam online. Kerana apabila exam online, masalah scheduling exam tersebut perlu diambil kira kerana masalah capaian tadi. Satu, server capacity untuk menerima berapa connection pada satu masa, itu perlu diambil kira. Yang kedua, bila masalah capaian ini, kebanyakan exam dijalankan secara asynchronous. Jadi contoh untuk subjek saya schedulekan exam tersebut, saya bagi masa 48 jam, di mana pelajar boleh mula pada bila-bila masa sepanjang 48 jam tersebut. Cuma apabila mereka klik mula, mereka diberi masa 2 jam atau 3 jam bergantung kepada subjek tersebut. Jadi mereka pilihlah nak jawab pukul 8 pagi ke, nak jawab pukul 10 malam ke, tapi cuma bila dia dah klik mula, dia hanya ada masa 2 jam atau 3 jam. Dan itu juga memudahkan penjadualan kerana dia tak perlu susah payahlah, dia kena bekerja di siang hari ke, dia kena jadi jaga di sekatan jalan raya ke, tak ada masalah. Jadi dia pilihlah masa yang sesuai. Begitu.
Dr. Faiz,
Ya,
saya Dr. Siti Mariam dari Fakulti Cognitive Sciences and Human Development.
Okey.
Jadi soalannya yang sentiasalah sejak kita pandemik, kita semua banyak gunakan online classes, right? Dengan undergrad, dengan postgrad. Dan satu isu yang selalu saya menghadapi ialah student participation.
Okey.
So dan bila ODL tu dengan seramai beratus student sekali kan online kan. Jadi apakah level of the student participation dari scale 0 sampai 5?
So far untuk kelas yang 350 itu, apa yang saya experience, level of participation, bila dia tanya, kita tak ada masa nak jawab pun sebenarnya.
Oh,
I would say very
very good.
very involved, very engaged, because usually daripada 350 dalam about 150 to 200 student attended the classes. And kalau dia tanya, dia type dalam chat macam ni, bila saya monitor pun dia akan jadi panjang. Saya pernah buat quiz dalam saya paparkan soalan dalam slide, and then saya suruh dia orang jawab sama ada A, B, C ataupun D, objective quiz. And then saya minta siapa yang jawab A bagi explain apa yang A dan sebagainya. Cuma for those classes, saya minta semua hanya berkomunikasi melalui chat. Untuk kelas saya yang lain, yang kecil, dalam 20 ataupun 40 orang tu, dia boleh bercakap, saya benarkan. Jadi sepanjang kelas itu, yang pertama saya kena monitor sepanjang masa dalam screen participant tu, saya kena make sure mute all. Yang itu penting. Sebab selalu akan ada seorang atau dua orang, especially yang connect daripada mobile phone, dia tak automatic mute walaupun diterangkan sebagainya. Jadi benda tu dia akan mengganggu. Jadi sentiasa saya kena buka satu screen all participant tu, kena always mute all sepanjang tempoh tu. Jadi dari segi, jadi kalau pertanyaan tadi tu, kalau kelas yang besar tu, dari segi communication dalam tu tak menang tangan lah saya kata. Kalau seorang bertanya kemudian cuma itu daripada segi chat sahajalah, dia good. Especially kelas yang saya mengajar tu kelas tahun 1. Kelas tahun 1 dia punya semangat tu masih tinggi. Berbanding dengan kelas tahun 4 yang saya mengajar tu, dia masuk pun mungkin sebab saya maklumkan dalam WhatsApp, kata siapa yang free masuk lah dan sebagainya, macam dah kena pujuk lah. Jadi kebiasaannya macam tu. Memang kelas tahun 1 ramai yang akan attend, semuanya aktif, dan dia akan berkurangan tahun 2, tahun 3 dan tahun 4. kan, especially dia orang dah belajar daripada senior macam mana apa nak navigate the learning process dan sebagainya. Jadi macam soalan yang puan tanya internet connection ni,
Ya.
internet connection setakat ini kami hanya pastikan daripada pihak pensyarah mempunyai internet connection yang baik. Di sebelah pelajar ada yang okey, ada yang tak okey dan sebagainya. Cuma kita hanya pastikan pesan kepada diorang sebelum diorang mulakan apa-apa yang evaluation, quiz ke, midterm exam dan sebagainya, jangan mula sehinggalah mereka pasti internet connection diorang tu stabil. Dan untuk kelas tak apalah kalau dia kick out ke apa semua, then just make sure dia menonton kembali rakaman nantilah. Jadi internet connection ni kita pendapat saya kita boleh cover, make sure bahagian kita okey, itu saja. Sebab recording di Webex nanti pun dia bergantung kepada yang link daripada kita.
True. Yeah, so it seems participation dari student di USM ini amat menggalakkan lah, kerana this is one of the problems that we always face, to get them to participate. So I think recording itu sangat penting ya, lepas kita lecture kita ataupun sebelum lecture kita post kan, supaya bila-bila masanya ya mereka boleh akses. Dan juga ada yang gunakan handphone untuk akses dan sebagainya, tu mungkin jadi masalah lah seperti yang Dr. Faiz kata tadi.
Betul.
So I'm glad lah. And also satu question yang berkaitan, ada tak USM tu ambil kira attendance semasa lecture untuk sebagai satu syarat ke?
Okey, untuk attendance tidak diambil kira sebagai apa-apa evaluation. Cuma yang apa yang saya tunjuk tadi tu, pelajar diminta untuk login and masukkan attendance semasa kuliah tu berlangsung, kerana lebih kepada keperluan OBE, kami perlu masukkan senarai attendance tersebut dalam file OBE, itu saja.
Okay. So mungkin kena tak ada syarat itu, and then kita sudah letak mechanism in place, like your video recording, like your materials and so on in the platform. I think it should cover, because itulah the essence of ODL. Banyak bergantung kepada student. Yang saya risau tu student lah, kalau mereka tak disiplin, memang ODL tu susah kita nak kendalikan. Mungkin menjejaskanlah the achievement of the students later on.
Betul. Cuma kalau ikut analytics daripada Moodle tu sebut, memang ada student yang memang tidak pernah login. Saya pun tertanya-tanya macam mana dia dapatkan maklumat dan sebagainya kan. Mungkin recording dia boleh tengok daripada YouTube dan sebagainya, tapi maklumat-maklumat lain, jadi perkara-perkara tu yang masih perlu difikirkan lah.
Thank you Dr. Faiz, thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Dr. Faiz, saya Syafina Rahim dari Fakulti Ekonomi.
Okay.
As you know, ODL ni something new for our faculty jugalah yang kita nak buat ni. Saya selaku koordinator dan besar kemungkinan saya akan diarah untuk mengajar jugalah satu subjek saya rasa. So thank you so much for your sharing. I think you pretty much whatever you are doing dah tested kan. So mana yang worked you shared, which one didn't work pun you shared. So thank you so much. Yang saya nampaklah setakat ni, whatever yang kita berkongsi pagi ni seakan-akan sama dengan apa yang sudah kami buat untuk undergrad kami sepanjang pandemik ni menggunakan e-lib kami lah. Dan saya juga menerima feedback yang sama daripada rakan-rakan lain. Orang tanya apa yang lainnya sesi hari ni kan. Cumanya bagi saya, pemahaman saya nak minta Dr. Faiz correct me if I'm wrong. Cuma ODL untuk kami kali ni yang kami kena bear in mind adalah target kami adalah yang bekerja. It's going to be orang dewasa yang sedang bekerja. Maksudnya kita kena jadikan pembelajaran dia tu se-fleksibel yang possible lah. Itu satu. So saya nampak ODL ni lebih kepada our preparation, macam Dr. Faiz share tadi, banyak kita kena prep material ahead of time. Yang Dr. Faiz gunakan word tadi tu, ahead of them lah. Kita one step ahead of them. Satu lagi saya rasa yang berat tu mungkin monitoring. And I think sebab USM dah buat lama, student pun beribu-ribu. Kami insyaAllah bila start tu tak adalah beribu-ribu kot, berpuluh mungkin, dan of course the top management nak benda tu naik ke beratus. So the question for me is, saya nampak jadual tu, saya kurang faham jadual kelas tu. Dr. Faiz sebut tadi hari Sabtu, dia start dari pukul 8 pagi sampai 7 petang. Dan saya nampak setiap kelas tu sejam. Betul ke?
Betul.
1 hour. So berapa kelas sebenarnya? So this is done every week, is it? Setiap minggu atau seminggu sebulan? Saya tak nampak dynamic tu.
Okay, this is the total of classes di PJJ. Untuk semua program ada dekat dalam 270 unit kelas.
Okay.
So yang ini semuanya bermula daripada 24 Oktober ni tiap-tiap minggu.
Setiap minggu hari Sabtu dari 8 pagi sampai 7 petang.
8 pagi sampai 7 petang. Okay. Macam yang ini 24 hari bulan. Kalau saya go through the next page, yang ini 31 Oktober. Kecuali kalau hari Sabtu tu cuti umum dan sebagainya, ataupun the day before cuti umum, dan kita akan skip lah.
Okay, alright. So berapa course tu? Dalam setiap minggu tu berapa kursus tu?
Setiap minggu ada 80 course.
Oh, memang 80 course yang berbeza?
80 course yang berbeza.
Oh, dia bukan repeat session lah. Macam Dr. Faiz ada 2 kelas tadi tu, kelas yang berbeza lah.
Kelas yang berbeza. So yang ini semua ni is a unique class. Macam ini management, yang ada sains, biologi dan sebagainya. Jadi
so maksimum ada tak USM tetapkan untuk satu kandidat tu dia boleh ambil berapa satu semester tu?
Satu semester kalau yang good CGPA, good standing student, dia boleh ambil. Kalau student program management, dia boleh ambil sehingga 33 credit hour.
33. So almost
sebab kita punya sidang ialah setahun. Jadi
yelah, saya nampak sebab benda tu kita kena cram jugalah, and then dia kalau setahun dia 3 semester ke 2 semester? Is it 3 semester?
Dia memang sidang dia setahun. Satu sidang dia setahun.
Oh yes, tadi you showed the 5 steps tu kan. So start September, October, then ada midterm, lepas tu one more like that lah. Okay, alright. So sejam seminggu.
Sejam seminggu. So dia so kita kena ikutlah yang ini. Jadi student pun dah ada dia orang punya timetable. Timetable ni samalah yang dikongsikan dengan student.
Maksudnya kalau dia miss slot tu, memang dia miss lah untuk minggu tu. Dia tak ada, dia bukan parallel lah, maksudnya dia memang tak boleh cover lah tempat lain.
Betul. Dia bergantung lah. Ada kelas, ada pensyarah yang kelas dia sangat kecil dan memang dia expect student dia semua attend. Jadi contohnya program-program seperti macam matematik, kelas mungkin ada less than 10. Pensyarah dia memang akan tanya seorang-seorang masa kelas tu. Jadi kelas-kelas tu bukan saja
berjaga-jagalah.
Dia.
Okay, alright. Saya baru nampak. So
cuma satu lagi yang saya tak sentuh ialah bila kita sebut ODL ini, kalau kita merujuk kepada Kopa ODL, dokumen daripada MQA tu, sekiranya sesuatu program itu ditakrifkan memang sebagai ODL, dia kena ada dua benda. Dia kena ada dua benda, iaitu satu self-instructional material, dan yang kedua peraturan yang kena ikut menurut Kopa ODL tu ialah setiap kelas tu tidak boleh lebih daripada saya tak ingat nombor dia berapa, tapi kecil je lah kelas dia dalam
kira student ratio dia kecil lah. Bukan
kecil
macam
untuk
mass
setiap
lecture lah.
kelas itu. Jadi macam yang PJJ kalau saya mengajar 350 student apa semua ni, dia tidak memenuhi perkara tersebut.
Okey.
Tetapi di PJJ, program ni disebut sebagai ODL merujuk kepada delivery method. Tetapi dia tidak dikatakan sebagai ODL yang memenuhi takrifan daripada MQA.
Okey.
Kerana takrifan tersebut, syarat dia tu ialah live session face to face online tu setakat ini dikira sebagai setara dengan live session bersemuka di dalam kelas.
Okey.
Jadi kalau 80% daripada pertemuan itu bukan live, then dia akan memenuhi kriteria ODL tersebutlah. Contohnya kalau recording dan benda-benda lain 80% dan whatever live tu hanyalah 20%, then program tersebut akan tertakluk kepada syarat-syarat ODL. Mesti ada self-instructional material, mesti ada mesti tak boleh lebih daripada 40 orang satu kelas, lebih kurang begitulah. Semua bahan-bahan, satu lagi program di PJJ ni, segala bahan pembelajaran diberikan kepada pelajar. Dia dah termasuk di dalam yuran pelajar.
Oh, okey.
Jadi bahan-bahan tersebut tu sama ada dalam bentuk modul ataupun bentuk textbook. Kalau yang dalam bentuk textbook yang diberikan, pensyarah akan memberikan penerangan macam mana untuk pelajar menggunakan textbook tersebut. Dia kena ada macam instruction lah, sebab pelajar-pelajar dikatakan akan melakukan pembelajaran kendiri. Jadi perkara-perkara itu juga perlu ada.
Okay. Kami pun dalam proses tengah belajar jugalah buat modul sebenarnya. So take away kami bagi pihak, I think my colleagues juga hari ni, yang one thing I learn is YouTube tu lah. I think it's a good suggestion lah. Saya sebenarnya sudah disuruh buat benda ni untuk undergrad sebab kita nak kurangkan beban bila budak nak akses kan. Dengan Sarawak ni kita faham student kita ramai yang orang remote sebenarnya, pelajar kita. We are having serious connectivity problem. We cannot make that as a valid excuse lah. Kita kena come up juga ways. So I think YouTube, budak-budak pun seronok kan, suka tengok YouTube. So tak nak semua kena jadi macam artis juga, no choice. Dan satu lagi saya nampaklah kegunaan Telegram tu. Setakat ni saya personally banyak guna WhatsApp lah, tapi dah Dr. Faiz tekankan kalau Telegram ni historical tu ada kan. So saya nampaklah kelebihan yang tu juga. So personally thank you for those tips lah. So saya serahkan pada ada 10 minit lagi, mungkin kawan-kawan rakan-rakan saya yang lain boleh bertanya. Terima kasih Dr. Faiz.
Okey, sama. Cuma kalau dari segi license tu, kalau ada yang tanya dalam chat, saya rasa kalau untuk kegunaan sendiri, kalau nak beli kan, kalau share beberapa orang, then dia kosnya agak rendah jugalah saya rasa. Dan jadi kita boleh guna untuk selama macam-macam kerja kan, macam-macam rakaman, editing semua kita boleh buat. Jadi mudahlah, lebih mudah begitu. Dan kalau tak perlukan Camtasia pun ada juga yang open source. Saya rasa open source software pun banyak, boleh explore.
Kalau tak ada apa-apa soalan lagi, rasanya I would like to conclude for our webinar today. Thank you so much Dr. Faiz. Banyak input, banyak tips yang sangat berguna for us yang baru berjinak dengan ODL ni. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you so much Dr. Faiz.
Terima kasih Dr. Hafizah. Terima kasih semua, dan kalau ada apa-apa feedback tambahan don't hesitate to email me. Ada pertanyaan lanjutan pun tak ada masalah. I look forward to further discussion, something that I can learn from you guys as well. With that, thank you very much.